So all we have now is the truck. We got no trailer, and I got the tent. I got a little bit of food and my camping gear. This is one of the first times I've done this in a while, actually, with just the truck. Usually I got the trailer with me. So I left the trailer back at camp where we've been camped for about a week, and there's a huge group of people came in. It was so quiet. It was dead quiet. I was there for 2 or 3 nights all by myself, just out in the middle of the woods, totally like dead quiet. One lady came with an RV, and it was just me and her for like 2 or 3 more nights. And then these people started coming. People are coming up with their families. They got kids. They got go-karts out. They got the ATVs and the side-by-sides, which is all cool, but it's, it's kind of getting noisy. There's, just so many people right where I'm camped. So I left my trailer there, which is actually kind of cool because it's the kind of group of people, I don't have to worry about anybody messing with my stuff or trying to steal my stuff or anything like that. So I feel really good about my trailer right now. It's back a few miles back, and it just feels safe. So now I'm in 4x4 here on this road. It's pretty rutty. There's no way I can get the trailer up in here. So this is one of the times where it's really nice to have a 4x4 truck. It's not too bad here, but it's kind of rutty and rocky. So I'm driving it pretty slow, really. But the thing that's just really cool is that about a half mile back at the top of this mountain, there's a spot where you can get a pretty good cell signal. I just pulled up YouTube. That's kind of what I test to see if it's going to be a decent signal. Now here I got some trees down in the road. I can squeeze through here, so I don't actually need to get out, but I could just move this tree out of the way if I needed to. Which actually, I think I'm going to do that. If I just move this tree off the road a little bit, it'll give me a little more room so I can squeeze by. Because I'll kind of scrape up the truck. So there's a lot of people out here in these side-by-sides. See, they got their flags out and they're blasting music. They're just doing like donuts right now. And, I think it's really cool. It's just not what I want right now. And the dogs, the dogs kind of get distracted. There's some dogs running around. He's good with the other dogs. Dodger's good with the dogs too, but the noise from the vehicles, they rev their engines and blast their music and stuff like that. And he kind of doesn't like it sometimes. So you can probably hear him. I'm blocking the road now if they want to get through here. So out here we got a cattle pond. It's a big cattle pond. Last year I let the dogs swim in it. So if you can tell, I'm pretty excited about this just because it's something different for us to do. So I'm kind of using something as sort of a bad thing, that's noisy. A bunch of noisy people came in, filled up our campsite. And there's tons of campers. There's 24 groups of people came in, or 24 families. And it's totally cool and everything, but I don't want to deal with the sound. So I just use that as motivation for me to load up some gear with the dogs. See, I got this bin here full of food and a little bit of gear so I can make a little fire and cook some food and stuff like that. And I got my sleeping bag here and my pillows. And I got the big tent. It's a pretty cool area. There's so many places to camp around here. There's bugs here. That looks like a mosquito, actually. There's bugs here because we're by the pond. So if you're just checking out our channel now for the first time, we usually have a travel trailer. We always do. That's what I've been living in for over 2 years now. And we get out in nature, but now we're going to be able to get out, even deeper in nature since we just have the truck it's really pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited. So we're gonna have we'll be using some camping gear tonight. I'll get that in the video. I got my little stove, so you can see how that works, and the kind of weird food I'm gonna end up having to cook out here, and the weird ways I'm gonna have to do it, because I brought pretty minimal stuff. I can camp pretty much anywhere out here. There's a nice fire pit right here that I'm looking at right now. One of the things I do is I'm just kind of checking this path just to make sure it's clear, you know, of any debris or anything. And I can just bring the truck right in here. I think this is gonna be my campsite tonight. It's always weird to see a campsite before you claim it, you know, before it's yours. Because when I leave this place, this campsite, I mean, I think this is gonna be it. You can see how it's laid out. I'll just park the truck right here. And then I got a nice fire pit right here. And I can set the tent up in this grass maybe, or right here. This looks like a nice flat spot actually, and fairly soft ground. Now there's some rocks there actually. But when I leave here, this is gonna feel more like my home. And so it's gonna be, I'll be a lot more familiar with all these trees, and I'm gonna spend the night here. Now, I'm sure I'll hear animals, and coyotes are gonna come through here. We saw a coyote the other day come into our campsite, came really close by. So I'm sure up here all kinds of activity happens. I'm seeing a lot of elk prints and deer prints out here. There's a hill up here on this side, so that'll be cool to hike onto. And this will be our fire pit. There's a lizard. So I got the tent set up. You know, it's not a super huge tent. I think it's called a 4-person tent, but it's plenty big enough for me and the dogs. It weighs about 12 pounds, something like that. That's why I can only use it when I have the truck, when I bring it in the truck. My backpacking tent weighs about 5 pounds, and you can get them a lot lighter than that, but it's much smaller. It's like a 2-person tent, and it's less than half that size. So this is gonna be a good night. I'm pretty excited about this. The sun's coming down right now, but I'm getting hungry, so I'm gonna start cooking, and I wanted to show you all this stove. It's gonna work out really well here, but it's mainly made for backpacking. It's super light. I mean, I don't even know how much it weighs, but it weighs like basically nothing. It's a few ounces, something like that, in this little bag here. And when you pull it out, this is the whole stove right here. You can see how thin that is. And there's 6 pieces, I think, total. And you just assemble it together like this. You just slot these pieces together. This is the titanium one. The titanium one is, it's fairly expensive. I think this might be like $70 or something like that. But man, when you're backpacking and this is all you have to bring to cook with, it's so nice because it weighs so little. They have a stainless steel version too, and that's quite a bit cheaper. But it weighs a few ounces more. There's so many different ways you can use this to cook your food. That's the whole thing right there. So the cool thing about this is it comes with this little tray, which you use for these S-bit tabs. You can get these little tabs. You can get the Coghlan's brand. I actually like the Coghlan's brand better because they don't smell as bad. These ones smell kind of fishy. These are like the best ones. They burn the best and everything. These are the ones that most people use. But I'm kind of trying to get rid of them because they smell kind of fishy. They kind of stink, even when you keep them in a plastic bag like this. I'll put a link down below, so check the link. I'll have a link to this on Amazon. You can get this. And I'll have a link to these tabs too. Like I said, the Coghlan brand, it's cheaper and they don't smell as bad. So I actually really like those ones. So you take this tray and you put this in here. I'll show you that in a second. This is a 3-inch opening here. It's super tiny here. You can see next to the Bic. This opening right here, I use this all the time. I'm not going to use it today just because I have these tabs. I want to go through them. But what you do is you put a little tinder in here, and then you find some twigs. Like, I'm not even standing up. You can use pine cones. You can just drop pine cones in there. Take a twig like this, stick that in there. You just start stuffing it with twigs. And then you light that on fire. And now you're just cooking with twigs. I mean, you don't even really have to stand up to get your tinder, to get all the wood you're going to need, because you're just filling up this little hole. And then as it burns, you just kind of shove it in there and put it in a little deeper. I have a couple videos on this where I'm using it as a stick stove. So you can look through my videos and see that. But today we're gonna do the tab tray. So this just kind of pops in here. You're gonna set the tab right here. There's not actually nothing that's gonna be in here. You just put the tab here and then your pot sets right on top of that. So let me show you these tabs. They come wrapped up like this, which is kind of nice, so you'd think they'd be smell proof, but they stink. So it's a solid fuel, and you can break these up if you want, or just do them like this. And they work really well as fire starters as well. So I always carry a couple of these when I'm backpacking. Okay, I'm gonna move this over to an area that I cleared of any debris here. Dodger's already ready to go to bed. I just fed them. So here's what we got. I'm getting hungry. I got some soy chorizo right here. I've never made this on this stove setup before, but I'm gonna give it a go. I'm hungry. So this is just the food that I had in the trailer. And I just went through my stuff, and I brought pretty much everything I need from the trailer, except my spork, which is like kind of important. But I have a knife, so I'll just use that kind of to eat off of. Okay, you can see that got lit there. And so then real quickly, if I put this on top, it'll start cooking, and that'll keep the wind from kind of blowing it out. You can see this thing's got all these little air holes down here, which work really good when you're using sticks. I mean, this thing is awesome. I love this stove. The main reason I love this stove is because I can bring it with me, and I don't even need to bring those fuel tabs. I can just bring this stove. It weighs just a few ounces, like I said, like 3 ounces or something like that. And I know I can always find sticks and twigs and pine cones and things like that to light it and to cook whatever I want. I can boil water wherever I want. All I need is just this little tiny stove. And it folds up really small, so I really dig it. I've used all kinds. I've used gas stoves. In one of my videos, I was using a stove that uses liquid fuel, like you add liquid fuel to it, and that thing works really good too. But you have to have fuel. So this thing's awesome because you can find pine cones and twigs and sticks anywhere you go. I mean, if you pull over at a rest area, in a parking lot, you can find debris and stuff, whatever to put in there. So you're always ready to cook. So usually I'd be using my spork to kind of cook with and to eat with, but I just don't have that right now. So I'm gonna be making tacos tonight. I got a can of black beans, got an avocado, got some salsa here, and I brought some cheese and some tortillas. Tortillas are really good for backpacking too, because they don't fall apart like bread does. And I got some carrots here too. I'll just let that cook there for a few minutes. Then I'm gonna throw the beans in there and stick some cheese on top and just throw it in a tortilla. Man, this is fun. This is really fun. It's cool because the dogs kind of behave a little differently. And it's neat that they get to do that, and I get to see them doing that. They're staying really close by in camp, which is kind of cute. Because they're allowed to run around right now. There's nobody out here. You can hear that sizzling. See, that's cooking up really good. I mean, it's done now. So I'm gonna put this in the pot. And this is my backpacking pot. And I love this thing because it's so small. And it's super lightweight. I'll put a link to this too down below so you can get this on Amazon. If you know, it's sometimes hard to find exactly what you want, and you see someone using it. And you know, this is just the perfect size. But you know, if you want something bigger, this is not going to work for you, obviously. It's super tiny. It's just for one person. Okay, and then I got this can opener here. I'm gonna open this up. So now I got the beans in there. And the tab is still going. See, the thing lasts pretty long. It lasts long enough to boil this much water. And the cool thing about this little frying pan, which I make eggs in the morning, is it's also the lid. So you got this nice little kit here. That is an awesome cooking kit. It's so small and lightweight. I love it. This is our morning hike. Had a pretty good night last night. I heard coyotes, owls, and elk. And now here I've stumbled upon gigantic asparagus. Look at that. So this is where the dogs and I crashed last night. It got a little cold last night. I had 2 sleeping bags and we just kind of piled together and kept warm. Check out this air mattress I got. This is my backpacking air mattress. This thing is crazy looking, huh? It's called the Climate Inertia X-Frame. And the thing that sucks about air mattresses is blowing them up. But this one takes like 4 puffs and then it's blown up. You just blow it up through this nozzle right here. And then you can let the pressure out to keep it as tight as you want. It's made for backpacking because it only weighs 9 ounces. And it's not too bad. You know, it's not the most comfortable thing, but it's just super light so you can backpack with it. One thing I forgot was my pour over. So I made this little tea bag kind of style thing and I had a twist tie. So I just used this twist tie to tie it off. So we'll see how that works. I'm gonna put some boiling water in there right now. There we go. I was using my tab stove again. So I don't really know if this is gonna work. It should work pretty well, actually. It should work. You know, when you're out here, especially when you don't have a full setup like the trailer or your RV or whatever, then the little things, they taste a lot better and they just feel a lot better. So sometimes just a little sleeping bag is enough. Warm coffee is good enough. This coffee's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna taste really good. It's just, you start to be really grateful for the little things that you have out here when you don't have that much. Echo's just chilling in the sun. He slept really good. He's been eating a lot of grass, so this morning, he kind of woke up and he starts kind of wagging his tail and looking at me funny, and kind of his tongue starts sticking out. And I was thinking, is he gonna throw up? And then, yep, he started heaving. He's heaving and heaving. I unzipped the tent as fast as I could. Like I just got up, unzipped it, and he jumped out, which was awesome. I was so grateful that he did that, and he just puked outside here. He's a good dog. He kept me warm last night. He slept under 2 sleeping bags with me. Dodger was plenty warm. He doesn't need any sleeping bag. He just kind of laid on the tent bottom most of the night, even though I had the pads in there. See, I got these pads, these like foot pads that you get at like the hardware store or whatever. Actually, these ones I got on Amazon too. You can get these at Harbor Freight. These work pretty good. And for backpacking, what I like is this piece right here. This is one of my favorite backpacking or camping items, really, because you can turn this into a sit pad and you can lay on it. It's called the Thermarest. I've had this for like 10 years, so it's gotten a lot thinner. It's compressed and it's full of holes, because I mean, I would hike this up on Mount Rainier and then I just sit it down on some rocks because it's really rough terrain up there. You just set it down on the rocks, and then you got a sit pad. You can sit right down on it. And the rocks might kind of poke through or whatever, but it's kind of indestructible, really. These are pretty cheap. They're like 35 bucks on Amazon. I've just had a lot of luck with this. The other cool thing about this one is it floats, so you can use it to swim with. You just roll it up, you make a roll, and then you have something to hang on to when you're swimming, so you can float with that. It has so many uses. I've used it for a windbreak. You can use it as a windbreak, like that. You can use it as a sun break, like to create a little bit of shade if you need to in an emergency. I've done that before, actually, where there's no shade, and then you can create a little bit of shade with this instantly. I mean, this is probably my #1 camping item. Yeah, it's working. Here's the air mattress now. I rolled it all up. It's about the size of a Coke can. And one thing I remember about this mattress is I did get a hole in it at one point, but it was in the seam. They give you a little patch kit, so if you get a hole on this surface here, you can patch it up, especially like in an emergency, like if you're out backpacking, then you need this, and so you can patch it up with that patch kit. But I had a burst in the seam. There's like just a little tiny hole coming out through the seam here, so you couldn't patch it. And these have a lifetime guarantee, so I sent it back in, and they sent me a new one. So this one's basically brand new. I thought that was really cool. I paid about 80 bucks for this, so it's not super cheap, but you know, it's super tiny. I mean, look at that. That's the whole air mattress right there. It's like 9 ounces, and then you just get it in the stuff sack here, and that thing fits in your pack. It's nice because it's so freaking tiny. See, like something like this is nice because it's indestructible, but it's bulky. So if you put this on your pack, you got to roll it up and stick it on the outside of your pack. But like I said, I take this everywhere. I don't mind its bulk because it's so useful and so indestructible. The Thermarest. I got my eggs here cooking. It's looking pretty good. I just cracked 2 eggs on some beans and some soy chorizo. And I'm gonna put that in my tortillas with some cheese. I gotta say, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited about this. I made a lot, and that's pretty awesome because I'm pretty hungry. Damn, that looks good. I'm gonna dig into this in a second here. Thanks for watching the Got Out channel. Hit that thumbs up button. Let us know you're watching. We like to know you're watching. And also subscribe to the Got Out channel so you don't miss any of our adventures. We're almost always out in nature and learning about nomad life. And I also wanted to thank a few of you sent us some Buy Me a Coffee where you can send us a little donation. And that really helps us out a lot, and I really appreciate it. Lets us know that you like what we're doing, you're getting something out of it. Hopefully you're learning about nomad life with us, just like we are. We're learning about nomad life. And this is what we're doing today. We're just hanging out in the tent as opposed to the trailer. Usually we're doing RV life. Today it's just me and the dogs in the tent and some tacos I'm gonna go eat. We're coming up on the spot where we parked the trailer here. So I'm really curious to see how packed it is. I can already see there's several more people camped here. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Once you get down here where it's a little bit easier to access, there's so many people camped here. It's kind of unbelievable. And like I was saying before, like when we came in here, it was just me and one other trailer. Oh, there's our trailer right down there. There's definitely more people. I mean, we were feeling pretty secluded. Probably take a shower. Because man, being in the tent just for one night, I feel really dirty. And then head back up into the woods. Because it's noisy down here. Like these people are, you know, they're all partying, playing music, and they got ATVs and stuff like that.